Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to York City. I just want to start with a thank you. I received my monthly YouTube update thing. I just want to say thank you for everyone who has joined me on this journey over recent weeks. It's super encouraging to see that has now subscribed thing bob up. And Twitter shout outs too. Thank you for those. They're super encouraging. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. That's that. Now for the bad news. At the end of the last episode, I did say there might be transfer news by now. There isn't. See how I hid the bad news by putting good news on the front of it? That's how it works. So yes, thank you. I just wanted to bring you proof of concept, by the way, for Shao Nan, just because I didn't actually show you it in the episode yesterday. This is how I found him. China's under 20s. China does get good regens, and this is how you find them, basically. Go into China. In general, regens just look at national under 20s, under 19s, under 21s, and particularly find the ones that are way below the age bracket. Because obviously they do technically have an under 19 squad, even though there's no one in it for some reason. There's only one player here. Was unassigned, now he is assigned. There's two in the under 23s, by the way, who are okay. He's not great, but the right back would be a great signing if I could afford him. Because he's at a club, they actually have priced me out. Speaking of being priced out, this lad's going to be something special, I can just tell. He's already 3.5 stars. He can get 5 stars. His value's 1.7k, but how I know he's going to be something special is they've quoted me 4.2 million, which, despite having decent finances, I don't think I can manage. So speaking of sort of disappointments, we lost 2-1 to Wimbledon at home, thanks to a red card, first and foremost. Yeah, so we threw that one away. That's kind of annoying. What wasn't annoying, though, was Newport County. Now, don't forget, Wimbledon, Newport and Crewe are all in that playoff race, actually. So these are 3 big games, and I probably would have brought you, say, either Newport and Crewe or Crewe and Grimsby, if we weren't in the FA Cup 4th round. I just want to make sure we get through a season, first and foremost, because we've had quite a few episodes this season already, and we're still only in January. But they scored 2 in very quick succession. We got one back quite soon after that, and then managed to turn it around completely, thanks to a penalty in the end. But Bennett on the score sheet again, and Lopez. And Bennett was on the score sheet for this loss to Crewe as well. At home again, somewhat annoyingly, 3-1. It's a confusing one, because it's not like we played badly, apart from one individual. But for the most part, Clark has not been terrible. This was just mostly defensive errors, I think. Because we did have 18 shots, we had 7 on target. We had a decent amount of chances, they just took theirs. 3-1. Can't really complain too much about the way we played, other than this. Even the players I substituted off weren't necessarily doing too badly. Thor, not great, but yeah, it's a confusing one, that one. I'm not overly sad about the way we played, just the way the match ended up. But Grimbsy at home, and then of course Burnley away, who I may have to consider going slightly less attacking against. Oh, yes, all the matches that have been played now, all the ones I needed to catch up, pretty much have done so. Coventry still got 1. Bristol Rovers still got their game in hand, in terms of the teams that kind of matter at this point. Still, if they win that game, they would leapfrog all of these teams and go into 7th. So if they do win that game in hand, I don't know who it's against. And Salford still have 2 games, so they can get ahead as well. But 42 points is not shabby, and we are in that hunt. Not that I particularly want to get promoted at this stage, as I've mentioned several times, because our reputation... Bear in mind, of course, if we get promoted, not only do we have to contend with League 1 teams and their wages, like I said, we sort of comparable to the teams currently being relegated out of League 1, and reputation, of course. If you accelerate too fast through the leagues, then your reputation gets sort of left behind a little bit, and then you still can't bring in the players that you need to compete at that level, necessarily. So I would very much like to stabilise in League 2 for one season at the very least, get our reputation up to a point where we can sign League 1, League 2-ish players, and then get promoted. That would be quite nice. But if we get promoted, obviously I'm not going to complain too much, but it might be more of a struggle than I would particularly like to have. Of course, it's all about the journey, and doesn't necessarily need to be 100% success rate. Meanwhile, just in regards to the table, I did sort of, when we went top at the beginning, I was kind of expecting us to fall off at some point. I was expecting Notts County to fall off. I thought they would, but considering they were sort of predicted in the same kind of middle of the pack area as we were. But no, Bristol Rovers saw the ones that sort of slightly dropped off as well. Newport have slightly dropped off. The big ones, Stevenage, they're the ones that have dropped off massively because they were sort of at the top with us, which made that 5-0 win at the beginning of the season all the more surprising. The one that has actually made me a little bit more pleased that we only got a draw against them is Northampton. They have recovered wonderfully. After the draw we had at them at the beginning of the season, away from home, they were down here, of course. And I was kind of ruining that draw. Now they're in this not too far behind us. I'm not too mad about that point. Ah, yes, you weren't meant to see this, but you will see this now. I may just be only interested in the fact his name is Brian Spaniel. I will bring you an update on whether or not we get him and what price we'll get him for. No, we won't. Yeah, he's pretty good, but technically, he's only got the one good stat, really, so I wasn't kind of expecting that to come back as 16 million. Keep an eye out on Brian Spaniel in the future. Good luck, Brian. What a brilliant name. Honestly, it's my favourite name since Lucky Winter, who sadly wasn't a great player. Would have been good for sort of this level of football, but I was doing Burnley at the time. Well, this is annoying. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this a one-match showcase against Burnley, and what I might just do is go through the rest of January and bring you any transfer updates at the end of the video. That way it allows me to sort of move a little bit further ahead for the next episode instead. So, with that in mind, we do get to play full first team for this FA Cup match, because despite the fact that Smallwood was sent off in the league and is still suspended there, he's not here. Smith, Ferguson, Tavares, Boom, Clark, back line, Smallwood, Nacelle and Williams in the middle, Bennett and Lee Tao on the wings, and Lopez up front. Now, I have sort of twisted a few of these, made them slightly less attacking in some places. Obviously, the mentality is a lot less attacking in total, but we should be. I'm hoping this will be okay for us. Now, of course, I'm still worried about Nacelle because he's not exactly put in the performances recently since we've shifted back to this, so I'm kind of concerned there. I'm eyeing maybe a lone midfielder to update that. Obviously, I'm still looking for a lone or permanent backup to Lopez, transfer-wise. So that's the kind of news I'm kind of aiming to bring, hopefully to bring you after this. Otherwise, we'll just see you in February, basically. But off we go against Burnley, my current club versus my previous Twitch save club. Basically back-to-back, doesn't it, for previous FM19 saves? But you can see there from their lineup that it's not really that weak compared to what they had in the Premier League. Dwight McNeil's still there. Ashley Barnes is still there. He's just on the bench. Yeah, you look at that team, and they've actually got 2 ex-West Ham players as well. So yeah, still basically the same team that they had in the Premier League, plus a few other Premier League players. Media. Yeah, just give them the media. Give them the media one. Why not? Get a full wave of green out of this. Seems like a sensible thing to do. Yes. Wonderful news all round there. And off we go. Now, yeah, not going fully attacking on this one. For Burnley 4-4-2, wouldn't really expect anything more than them. I just noticed that Chippenham are still in this FA Cup. I'm not sure if that's what that's bringing us, but Lopez is clean through here. It's a one-on-one. He's moved inwards and gone wide of the near post. He made that touch slightly inwards. I was half expecting him. Chelsea versus Chippenham. Now that's the windfall for them. Blimey. Think of the money they're going to get out of that. They're going to get promoted next year just off that money alone, I'd imagine. I think I actually saw them earlier in the year and looked at them. I think they might be in Vanarama South or something like that now. Lee Tao's gone past Mazawaku, but can't make it count. And the 2 chances we've seen so far, despite Burnley's seeming dominance in the match, have gone our way. That being said, what a boring game. See if I can get them motivated for the second half and maybe get a little bit more out of them. Worth noting, Boom will be out of the next round whenever we play the next FA Cup game, either this year or somehow next. I said the somehow on the wrong half of that sentence, I just realised. Boom gets it forward to Smallwood. Can he work this forward? Williams. Beautiful ball to Lopez. That deserved a goal from the assist alone. Sorry, I've never been that animated by an assist before. That was a wonderful ball through. Clark. I say Williams is. I feel like Williams has done a little bit better in this sort of new return to the formation. Why would you do that, Smallwood? Like, genuinely, what was the point of that? He was being pushed so far wide. The goalie had a good chance of saving that. And now you ballsed it for us. Got sent off recently. And now he's done that. You're a liability, Sunshine. Tarkowski gets to throw this one. And now we've actually got to attack him, of course. Although they could easily make it 2 here. And I would not be very surprised if they do. McNeil. Not really giving them a lot of space, except for Mazawaku, who is being completely abandoned. Lee Tao, you're on a support duty. You're supposed to support. Nacelle's having a better game, but the wingers are not. And left back in particular, also kind of worryingly bad. Lopez, whilst on a 6.3, I cannot, swap that quality out. Oh, hello. Highlight at the very end of the game as Lee Tao's getting sent off, I pretty much assume here. Obviously, I can't do anything about it. Just going to have to leave him like that. Nothing I can do. Although, again, there's another highlight here, but that's basically because Rodriguez is completely straight through here. And Smith saves wonderfully, really. Smith, backing up my faith in him all season, with so many good saves. Another one there. Safe to say, I think I'm taking Get Stucking off. Oh, you're kidding me, right? Oh, thank God Clark didn't get sent off there. Oh, I thought he was about to. We've not exactly disgraced ourselves, other than the way they scored and the way we got sent off. But general performance-wise, good effort, I suppose. We were the second best team, but it is Burnley away from home. Keeping it 1-0 is kind of respectable, considering how reckless we were being. So like I said, I'm just going to go through the rest of this month and bring you any updates transfer-wise by the end of it. Just a very quick update on Cardiff's reward for beating Man City in the previous round of the FA Cup. A casual 9-1. Deadline day has passed and we've not spent a single penny up front because 2 free agents and a loan. I say free agents, he was at Cardiff Met Uni who don't have full-time contracts, so just snapped him right up. Now technically, doesn't look that brilliant as things stand, but as a backup long-term, he's 19 years old with the potential ability off the end of what we can gather at York at this point in time. But when you consider Juanito Lopez, who has already been affected by a loan signing we've just made in terms of star rating, annoyingly, but when you consider Juanito Lopez is 4 stars and Stephen Robertson is 2.5, that potential 4th star, if we can get a player that's as good as Lopez long term, then the fact we picked him up for nothing and £400 per week feels like a very good deal to me. Obviously, technically right now, not brilliant. Physically, also not amazing. But what I quite like is 2 good stats in mentals already. Not pulling up any trees in terms of leadership senses or positioning, but there's some good stats there already, and I think he can develop quite nicely. It says right there, potential to be League 1, maybe more. Just a casual reminder, that's Lopez's stats. So if his potential is like this, then we should be golden. Now I move you on to that loan signing now. From Swansea is Matt Redding. Now, he can do left-sided of midfield quite nicely as an inverted winger, but what the important thing there more so is actually that left-hand side. Admittedly, I could have done one on the right-hand side. Fine. But just gives us a little bit more flexibility when Leitao gets injured, because it means one of the players who can go on both sides can swap over there. And the confusing thing is, his name is Matt Redding. He was originally at Reading, but he's now at Swansea. So it's incredibly confusing and annoying. But those are his stats. You can see the situation. Quite nice. His crossing's not the best, but he's an inverted, more to the point. Also can do striker. I kind of did this loan, sort of set this up at the same time as I found Robertson, so it's a little bit of both, but he kind of more so steps in straight away in either of those positions if I need him to be in either of those positions. Allows me to have a little bit more flexibility in my substitutions, more to the point. But lovely stats all around, really, on that front. Finishing's great, first touch is great, teamwork off the ball, acceleration and pace aren't that too bad either. By the way, I have ticked it up for yellow to be 13 now rather than 12 because I'm trying to push forward into League 1 levels of players. So I've moved every stat up by 1 point in terms of the colours on this from what they were before. And that's Matt Redding. Now, the last one is my pick of the bunch from Portugal that I could actually afford. I did have an offer accepted on a player, but he didn't want to sign. So that's fine by me. I signed Robertson anyway. He was a striker. Now, talking about that right-hand side, admittedly, he does have a reasonable left foot, so he can do right-hand side, inside forward if that's quite nice. He doesn't have the... Confusing thing is, he does have a good right foot, but his crossing isn't the best. So, inside forward, reasonable left foot, it's going to have to do, really, for the time being. Some of those physicals, not great either. Some of those mentals, not great either. Some of the technicals, not great either. Great technique, great work rate, determination slightly on the low side, hopefully you can bring that up, but he is fast. And his finishing and first touch aren't bad either. He's not meant to be starting, really, but again, League 1 potential apparently, hopefully maybe more. It's that 4-star minimum I quite like. Considering we've got Lopez leading the way, in terms of star rating, it kind of makes all the stars ratings otherwise follow suit. So if we can get players that have a potential ability, same as Lopez, that's what I'm looking for at this stage of the game. Oh, just a casual update, by the way. Speaking of potential abilities and all that jazz, we did have this come through in December, of course. Not a lot of great news on this front. One of our wingers looks like a handy prospect. I'm so glad I just signed one. Yeah, there's a lot of wingers, but it does say most of our attacking midfielders come through, look to be below standard. Most of our centre-backs, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, don't expect much is what it says. I never really do, to be honest. But I think summertime, we're looking at right-back, obviously, because Abate will retire. And maybe a new centre-back as well. One that will help us progress a little bit further, because I'm not entirely certain how much more Romano and Boom have left to develop in. So one to maybe go alongside Tavares. That just reminds me, there was a game played. It was 1-1. We scored, they scored. Loic Boom scored for us defender-wise. Tavares immediately made a mistake at the other end and let them score. So, a little bit annoying considering we had absolutely the run of that game. Port Vale got postponed as well because their pitch was waterlogged. Which means the games I was initially intending to do in February are still actually back-to-back. It's just got a couple more in that month for us. Bristol Rovers, we're all the way down in 14th now. And then Halifax are the two teams I'm going to bring you. Halifax, of course, came up with us. Continue the rivalry with them. We're going to feature them again, along with Bristol Rovers in the next episode. And then not long left of the season. So until then, ta-ra.